Shavua Tov, Drom Africa. So many wonderful people are here from Israel and from around the world. I'd like to mention member of Knesset Avishai Braverman, former minister, chairman of the Jewish Agency Natan Sharansky, mayor of the city where two of my daughters were born, the mayor of Jerusalem, Nir Barkat. Our dear friend, member of parliament from the great state of Canada, Erwin Cutler. Rabbonim, chief rabbi, diplomats, Zionist Federation members, honors guests, brothers and sisters. Last month, I was in Cape Town. It happened to have been my birthday, and I went to speak at the annual general meeting of WIZO. Is there anybody from WIZO in the house? Of course. And at the meeting, the women of WIZO do as they've always done, as they've done forever, do a hard sell in terms of donating and giving and building youth centers, building Israel. The same day in Cape Town, there was another guest doing fundraising, another organization that brought a hijacker. That's the difference in South Africa, friends. Our people are building society, are building future generations, building love, building Am Yisrael. This is the difference, and this is why we're always going to win. We are one, South African Jews and Israelis. We in Israel are grateful for the friendship, for the connection, for your support. You know that you have a home in Israel. We know that we can count on you, and we know about the impact that South African Jewry has had on Israel. And it's important for all of us to know that we're winning. Israel exports to Africa and to South Africa have increased for a 5th consecutive year. Israel culture in South Africa draws great interest. Dance Umbrella this week, Franschhoek Book Festival in May, Opie Kopi and Joy of Jazz over the rest of this year. Israel is relevant for African dilemmas, water management, agriculture, innovation, telecommunications. Africa and Israel see common cause. We saw how Nigeria and Rwanda acted in the Security Council at the end of last year. We see the friendship that Israel has with Angola and Kenya. We saw Ebola assistance that Israel offered to Western Africa. The visits of leaders from Israel across the continent and Africans to Israel. Later this year, the King of Swaziland is going to come to Israel as well. Jews and Christians across Africa and across the world know the truth. Know that we have a shared destiny and a shared connection to the Holy Land. Jerusalem today is more open, more accessible, more tolerant than ever in history. Visits this week to South Africa of Israeli Christians like Father Gabriel Nataf and the great Jewish students of Stand With Us continue to show the values and the connections that Israel and South Africa need to have. And it's thousands and thousands of South Africans. Many of us, I think most of the people in this room, we were together here in Johannesburg and in Cape Town in August to stand in solidarity with Israel and to call for peace in the Middle East. They were watershed events because it wasn't just the Jewish community, it wasn't. It wasn't just the Zionist Federation. It was people of Africa who love Israel and are connected to Israel. Israel continues to thrive in the world's most complex and violent region. We're thriving, friends. In 2014, we set a record for startup investments. You should invest. We're democratic. We have elections in a week and a half's time. We're the only place where Arabs really can vote and impact their own future. We're diverse. We're the only place in the Middle East where a Christian community is growing. We have Jews from all over the world. And in terms of security, we seek peace with our neighbors. We've made peace and have vital relationships with Egypt and with Jordan. We treat wounded civilians from Syria. The Palestinians are our neighbors, not our enemies. But we will stand and protect our citizens when challenged. We will not apologize for fighting terror, and we won't be silent to the dangers in our region and from Iran. Israelis, like everyone else, are entitled to peace and security. And there's lots that every person in this room can do. And so here's my challenge to all of us. We have an excellent story to tell. So let's tell it to newspapers, on TV, on radio, on social media, and on campuses. Congratulations to everyone who worked so hard on campuses this week. And friends, we've succeeded in South Africa, from tomatoes to iPhones, from innovation to telecommunications, and there's so much more to do. So let's go do. Let's do tikkun olam. Let's partner with Israeli business. Let's invest. Let's go visit. Let's send your kids for an Israeli experience. And yes, make aliyah. Have to say it. And you know what? It's also good that the South African government says it wants peace in our region and supports a two-state solution. We have that in common. I started by mentioning my meeting with the Witzo women in Cape Town. And when that event was about to begin, I spoke with a Holocaust survivor, Miriam Lichtman, who, like my family, came from Poland. And she told me that she had concerns that we were back in the 30s and that history was repeating itself. Well, with much, much respect to Miriam, I strongly disagree. It can't be repeating itself because now, as opposed to the 30s, we have a strong, vibrant, successful state of Israel. And we have confident, strong Jewish communities around the world who will stand up and not only say never again, but say, look what we're doing. Look how we're making the world a better place. We're what's right with the Middle East. We're what's right with the world. Thank you for being with Israel. Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you very much.